Hey, listen, if you in your car, if you with your family, if you in the backyard having a cookout, I need you to turn this all the way up, cause it's about to go live. Woo! This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and they sure can't take it away. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and they sure can't take it away. You see the vibes, I know you see the light and how it shines. I'm a child of God, why you look surprised? I'm super fly, I won't apologize, cause I walk in favor, I got flavor. Salt of the earth, I can't lose my savor. Jesus Christ, yeah, that's my savior. Eyes on the cross, I don't see no hate. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Yeah, yeah. I once was lost, but now I'm fine.
Happy Father's Day to everybody who is watching, who is a dad, a stepdad, a male figure, a mentor. Please, I hope you had a wonderful day, and I'm so thankful that you are able to include this podcast as a part of your day. I pray that it blesses you. My name is Gregory Bloomfield. I am a father to two wonderful kids, Thaddeus and Isabel, and to three bonus kids, Quanell, Ashley, and Jalen. So I just want to say thank you for the Father's Day greetings, and to all of you that are watching, happy Father's Day. My name again is Gregory Bloomfield, and you're tuned in to the hardest working podcast in this part of YouTube and Facebook, the Motivation Moments Podcast, where our theme is to be encouraged, be inspired, and be motivated. Like, share, and subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Most of our viewers, or the majority of our viewers on YouTube, are not subscribers. What is the problem? Subscribe. It's free, and click the button for notifications. If you are on Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. And can you follow the channel Motivation Moments with Gregory Bloomfield? It would be wonderful, and I'd greatly appreciate it. It lets you know when the next episodes are, and it also helps support this ministry. So thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, again, I want to say happy Father's Day to everyone who's out there. And I also want to give a special shout out to the Merrimack Valley SDA Church. Yesterday, I was their speaker for their prayer breakfast for men, their Father's Day prayer breakfast, and for the divine worship. So thank you so much. We had an awesome time. It was powerful seeing the men leading out and singing. We love it. We love it. We love it. So thank you for having me. And also, hey, check out the merch. If you go to sisterpamelapublishing.com, we have merch. We got t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, women's tees. Check those out. It'd be awesome if you could support that. And everything is there to support the podcast. So t-shirts, mugs, go to sisterpamelapublishing.com and order yours. They're reasonably priced. This is like less than $20. So yeah, check it out. I want to get right into our conversation. And this gentleman here is no stranger. If you are in the Northeast and if you are in SDA circles, you know who Pastor Paul Graham is. He is an incredible man of God. He's an author, he's an entrepreneur, and he is the pastor of one of the best churches in Maryland, the Restoration Praise SDA Church. If you're from Restoration Praise, you need to be known today. Shout out your pastor, shout out your city, shout out the state of Maryland, because I heard you're doing awesome things for the kingdom of God. But most importantly, he is a man, he's a father of two kids, two young adults. And I remember when he was engaged to his wife, Wendy. So they've been together I'll let him tell the story. But basically, I want to introduce to you again, if you want to see the episode that he was on before, he was on episode number 16 and 17 of the podcast. And now he's back in episode 144. And a future episode this month. So without further ado, let's get right into it with my boy, my friend of 2 decades, Pastor Paul Graham. Yes, sir.
Doc, how are you doing? How are you doing?
How are you doing? It's growing a little bit. I can't really see him, but we will just wait for him to come on.
Oh no, I'm do you see me? Do you see me? I'm here. I'm here.
Again, I've known this man for many years. He is a good friend of mine, and we're going to have an amazing conversation on the subject of the joys and pains of manhood. But this time we're going to be talking about the joys and pains of fatherhood. So this is going to be an awesome conversation. There he is. All right. Awesome. I don't know. I'm using another laptop, so it's just kind of weird. But
hey, how you doing? First of all, let me say this, and I know maybe we haven't gotten it. It's been some years that I'm now at Community of Hope, Seventh-day Adventist Church, with also one of the associates of pastoral ministry. That's like our ministerial directors. But I will give a shout out to Restoration Praise Center, whose pastor is Dr. Lola Moore Johnson. Bad preacher. She does what she needs to do. She does what she has to do. So for all those who are in our area, let's support, and let's be there. But Community of Hope, and I'm still doing things for the Lord. It's all good, brother. It's all good. Hey, I know we haven't talked in a long time, or sometimes people don't look, don't see the changes, but man, it is good to see you, brother. It is good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you as well. We've known each other. We were talking in the back. We've known each other for like 25 years.
25 years. 25 years.
Ever since I was in Boston. I moved to Boston from Florida in 2000. And you were doing a youth crusade and an evangelistic thing for the youth in 2001. Mm-hmm. That's when I met you. And the irony was, it was at the Berea SDA Church in Boston.
I remember.
And I remember you brought your fiance, now wife.
That's right.
And you guys have been together for 24 years. God bless
24
you.
24 years, man. 24 years. So that means that when we met before, it was 20. So it's got to be 25.
Yeah. Neither of us had gray in our beards.
Oh my goodness. No. This is my ministry gray. This is my ministry gray.
Oh. Minister, then this is my podcast. Great.
I
All right,
got you,
cool.
man. I got you. I got you. Well, happy Father's Day to you, brother. Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, likewise. Same to you. And I was going to say that now the funny thing is I met you at Berea. I wasn't a member of Berea. But now, fast forward to 2025, I am now a member of Berea, of the church that we met. And my pastor, Pastor Etzel Kadea, you were telling me, and shout out to him if he's watching.
Oh, yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. You pastored his dad. Is that what I'm
at Linden, at the Linden Church? Oh yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Shout out.
And then Linden. His dad, his dad ended up pastoring also. He was just that equipped. Let's put it that way. That he handled, I think, 2 churches in Northeastern Conference also.
Oh, okay.
Right. In his seasoned age. That's right. That's right. Right. Yeah, so man. Elder Cadet, great guy, man. Great guy. Great family.
Yeah, exactly. He's a great pastor as well. So shout out to him, Berea family. But listen, I wanted to talk to you about fatherhood. Since today is Father's Day, shout out to all the fathers. What I wanted to talk to you about is your spiritual legacy. Now, you are a busy man. You're a writer. You have a business. You also are a pastor. You're a father. You're a husband. We're going to talk about fathering. And to some people, you're considered a spiritual father. You mentor other men and you mentor people in your congregation. How would you say, in terms of the challenges of spiritual life in a digital age? You are I see the microphones. I see you have your own podcast and stuff like that. Talk about being spiritual and being spiritually relevant as a man and as a father figure, and even to your own kids in this digital AI podcast electronic age. And please, to the audience, please participate, engage. Feel free to talk and put your comments as well. And then we'll put them up on the screen.
Listen, one of the craziest things is, to be who you need to be in the field that you're in, that you help so many others in. My dad always said, watch the people who are professionals in a certain area and they are the worst in that area for themselves. So he would say, okay, take a mechanic. A mechanic probably has the worst car when he's supposed to have the best car, right? The doctor is the one that's outside smoking. You understand where I'm coming from? You look at a carpenter, and a carpenter, they out there, they beautify everyone else's home, but when it comes time for their home, it's jagged edges, in the house. You understand where I'm coming from?
It's like the shoemaker's kids that don't have shoes.
Come on. So when you say that, how do you stay relevant, and how do you keep that spiritual legacy going? I think one of the things that's important is to recognize that I want to be careful when I say this. Spirituality in my first church is home. That's my first church. My first church is not where I pastor. My first church or my first job is not where I am in the conference or this, that, and the other. My first responsibility and church is my home. And so I think that is really important that for someone as myself, where so many people are looking up to me for spirituality, and so many people are looking up for me towards, for so many different things spiritually. The truth of the matter is, then what does my house look like spiritually? You understand where I'm coming from? Do I pray often with my children? Do I pray often with my wife? Do I do all these things? And let me tell you something. A lot of times, how I feel, maybe not how other people may see, but how I feel, I've fallen short over and over again in this spiritual legacy thing.
Yeah.
But you got to get up and keep on setting that example, so that your children, your wife, those who come into your compound, so to speak, right, they recognize that it is a spiritual place more than a mundane spot to just hang or just to be at. You understand where I'm coming from? So how do I do? So how do you do it in a spirit, in a world, in a digital world? Mm-hmm. I think the greatest thing about spiritual legacies is sharing it. And so in this digital age, we have the opportunity of sharing it, just sharing it with others, whether it be a podcast like your podcast and motivating, whether it be for mine, Bible Boot Camp, 5 a.m. in the mornings,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to continue a spiritual legacy by being that legacy yourself.
Yeah. I find also, and I love that you're saying that. I think one of the things as well for spiritual legacy is when you do things like this, I have to, for myself personally, I have to keep myself sharp. This motivation moments is not just for the audience.
Mhm.
It's not just for the guests. It's for me. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes I'm motivated and there are times where I don't feel like doing this. Or there's times where I don't feel like ministering at a church, but I know that I have to prepare. And one thing that I've learned as well in this spiritual age is that you can use, I think it's easier now
Mhm.
to prepare messages than it used to be. Like I maybe I shouldn't say this, but like I had to preach twice yesterday, right? One for a prayer breakfast and then after for divine worship. The first message I did, I admit, don't stone me, I used AI, I used ChatGPT to prepare my message.
Okay. Now I have to say this to you.
Yeah.
I've never done it, right? In fact, I've never used AI before. Someone told me, why are you stressing yourself with your new book when you could do that and put your words in, put your post in, and let me be clear. Not only is it relevant, but it is not, as we say, cheating, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because you have to deliver it. Okay. You have to convince, you have to believe what you put in for what came out. You understand where I'm coming from? And you have to still be creative around that. So I'm kind of excited about what you've just said, because maybe I'll try it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll maybe I'll try it, but you still are in command of the message.
Yeah, and that's the point I wanted to make, was that it just gave me the raw materials. I still, with the Holy Spirit out, still had to make the house. Right. What it'll do is you get the topic, and then it's like it'll spit out scriptures, it'll spit out different ideas. There's some that I rejected. There's some like, yeah, I can build on that. I still had to present it. The funny thing is that it could even, ChatGPT could also make your PowerPoint slides. If you put your points together and you say make a slide presentation, it does it for you. You still got to edit it. You still got to read it, all that type of stuff. You still got to pray over it. You still got to deliver it. But it just takes the hours of labor. So if you have to preach if you have to do like 2 weeks of a sermon of a crusade, it can do 10 sermons for you in 2 days.
I'm scared.
You still got
frightened. I mean, in fact, I am positively scared. But hey, listen, I think that when you talk about, preparing something for others, the truth of the matter is you can always prepare something for others and yet it skip over you.
Yeah.
And so, man, Gregory, I really believe that when you are preparing something for someone else, whether it's an overnight study, whether it's a chat GPT, is that what it's called? Whatever it may be. Yeah. I think the most important thing is, do you believe what you're saying? Do you believe that that God is calling you to, I'm going to use these words, right, to deliver it? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think the first chat, come on, what is it? AI chat?
Chat GPT. Or it's, just blanket, say AI. It's fine. It's a part of it.
I appreciate that, man. That means I need to catch up with that, at least with that. My kids use it.
Yeah.
The people that I work with use it. But I would say this, the first one probably was, Jesus, giving Moses, hey, Moses, this is what I'm giving to you. Now you give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Work it out, work it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not cheating, but like I stress on the AI spot, and I stress on the ChatGPT, and I stress on, the internet and the digital age, because kids of today, are far more advanced in this stuff than we are. So we as parents, we need to meet them so that we can be relevant in how we download. Notice I use the word download.
Yeah.
Download our spiritual heritage. It's the same heritage, it's the same Jesus, just in a different form.
That's right.
So you mentioned a word when you were talking before, the word legacy. I want you to expound on that a little bit in terms of what legacy means to you, because legacy can mean different things. What does, as a father, you said your first ministry is your home. What type of legacy are you want to download to your kids as the Graham family legacy that they can pass down to their kids if God spares this earth? What does that look like?
Wow. Let me say this. First of all, when I think of legacy in this sense, right, I think of how am I honoring my belief? What am I passing down? I'm passing down honor. I'm passing down beliefs. I'm passing down how you say this. I'm passing down core values. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think one of the greatest mistakes that we make in legacy is allowing your children or allowing your next generation to be who they need to be, the freedom to do that. But we still need to share with them the legacy. We need to share with them the honor. We need to share with them the core values, because a lot of times I think that we mix up our legacy with money. We mix up our legacy with success, worldly success. And there's nothing wrong with success, right? But worldly success. But I think the legacy that we're talking about here is for Paul Graham, for the Graham family, is sharing a level of honor, sharing a level of a core value, sharing a level with them so that when they create their legacy, right, or continue, right, the legacy, they'll create more substantial of a more like your fill-in or your foundation, I should say.
Right.
Our children will have that more once they recognize that a legacy is not just about walking where I walked, it's living how I lived. You understand where I'm coming from?
Say that again, sir. Say that part.
Right. Again, I believe that a legacy for my children should not just be only walking where I walk, but living how I live. And and it's a little scary sometimes, right? Because what they call legacy is stuff like this. My two children, adult children, go to Oakwood. One just graduated from Oakwood. The other one's going to his sophomore year. Well, when I go down there, I am the alumni chairman of the whole school. All right, here's the scary part. The scary part is when people come around, they say, yo, man, your kids go here, you went here. Man, that's legacy. I'm like, yeah, if they fail, is it still legacy? You know what I'm saying? If my daughter had a child out of wedlock, is it still legacy? You know what I mean? If my kid I'm just saying, if my kid cheated in school, is it still a legacy? I'm just saying, right? If my son is doing weed and my daughter's doing weed and they drinking and carrying on, that's still a legacy. See, sometimes we dumb down legacy to where we are instead of who we are. Okay. And that's why also in our church today, because I know that many people who will watch this podcast may not be, I'm just saying, may not be of the Adventist faith, which is beautiful. I think it's beautiful. But for us who are in the same Adventist faith, I think sometimes we look at legacy as a badge of honor of the fact that this is where we are. Right. Instead of wearing this legacy as a badge of honor of who am I presenting? You see where I'm coming from? Yeah. And so my legacy for my family is who you represent. It's who you represent. Yeah. It's tough being a dad like that, though. You know what I mean? But we'll get into that.
Sometimes as a dad, like you see your kids making a choice that you wouldn't make. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, you think about your name as like, I wouldn't do that, so therefore you can't do that. Well, hold on just a second. It may not be my decision, but it may be their choice. But I think the greatest legacy and the greatest thing that you can give is a legacy of prayer. Because I'll give an example. Like my son, my son graduated high school. He's about to go to university.
Okay.
There was, without putting his business out there was a decision that he wanted to make in terms of his major. He wanted to change his major.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he went about it, or what he presented to me, I didn't agree with it, but I understood why he thought that way. And at the end of the day, I said to him, did you pray about it? Right? Because I don't know everything. And I know for myself, there were decisions I had to make in college. Like my mother, let me say this. We talk about Adventism. Let's talk about, we both come from Jamaican homes.
Yes.
And
Sorry about that, Chief. Sorry.
Listen, my mother wanted me to be a doctor, not an accountant. She had the chemistry books lined up, and she said, you're going to be Dr. Bloomfield. And I don't do well in science. I did better in math and in accounting. And Jamaican, West Indian parents, there's only a few professions you can go into. Pastor, doctor, nurse, teacher, and engineer.
And
engineer, accountant. There's no money in that. So it's but I had to hold fast to my conviction. Did you pray about it? Yes. And then my mother realized that it was God's will for me to go in that direction, right? Even though she didn't see it. So even though, and I come from a family of nurses, I'm not one. I get squeamish when I see blood. So I'd be a horrible doctor. So the legacy is not that I follow the tradition of the profession, but is that when I'm faced with a decision,
what do you do?
What do I do? And the legacy is, you, as the old folks used to say, I turned it over to Jesus and I stopped worrying about it, gave it over to the Lord, and he worked it out. That's the legacy.
And I think that if you continue to teach the children these things, and listen, I know you said your son is going to university. There'll always be children. You know, I was talking to my brother the other day, my older brother, and his son is about to go into medical school, and he had to have a sit down with him and let him know that, listen, man, I still see you as 11. You know, I still see you as 11.
I cleaned your diapers.
That's right.
I don't care how big you are.
Right. That's right. And you talk about a 6 foot something young man. The issue simply is, as you said, is, leaving that legacy is also leaving keys. And one of the keys in legacy for you, as you just said, did you pray about it? Prayer is a key, and I think another key is, which I think my daughter has shown me up with, is she has what is it called again? Devotion every morning. I'm not a devotion guy, man. That's not me. I mean, I'll pray in the morning. I'll pray in the afternoon. I'm talking my own prayers. You know what I mean? But for me, getting up and reading something and so, what have you, whatever, you can catch me in the middle of the day when everything's quiet. But she's methodically does that, and that is her building in the legacy that she has learned with. You see where I'm coming from? Because she didn't get that from me. She probably got it from her grandmother, who gets up 5 o'clock every morning.
Like every West Indian grandmother is like
every morning.
And every Friday night, day is dying in the West.
That's right.
Heaven and earth are full of rest. If you don't know the Adventist hymnal, you don't know what I'm talking
about. That's right. So leaving a lasting legacy is asking those questions. Have you prayed about it? Have you talked to God about it? What does patience look like? Have you, and watch this, have you bothered God about it? Because it doesn't bother him.
Ooh, I like that. Say that one more time. Have you bothered God?
Have you bothered him? And he says, test me, man. Test me. And sometimes I think I'm bothering God. Listen, somebody said this at my church, that was preaching at my church. I believe it was when he was preaching, and someone made a comment that, you can't bother God. He's he's not that's what it was Pastor Chris Cheatham who said it. You can't bother God, or you can't insult God. Man, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it right. But it had to do with God is not tired of you.
Mm.
God is not tired of you. And I think that what God is calling us to do at this generation is to recognize that God is not bothered by you bothering him. You know,
that's a quote that someone needs to hear. That my son just said, shout out Gregory Bloomfield. I'm dad to you. Thank you, son. But yeah, it's God is not bothered by you requesting. I could add something to that. You're not nagging God by asking him multiple times.
Right.
It's called the Bible in Philippians 4. It's called supplication. It's okay to supplicate for yourself or intercede for others for God. And I think one of the things as fathers, you don't know how many times I've had to supplicate for my children.
Yes.
My daughter be like, I say, Lord, help this girl, protect her. Or whenever either one of my kids, we have good times or bad times, there are times where I just say, pray to God to, fix it, Jesus.
Fix it, please.
Or fix me. Because sometimes one of the things that I don't want to do, when I really had to search my heart, is that give me the heart to apologize to my kids where I did not represent the father well.
You see, man. You see.
Yeah. Oh,
Maya Angelou makes this comment, right? She said, legacy is every life you've touched, right? And what you're just saying is, Lord, I want to make sure I touch the lives of my children, right? And I think it's awesome when you're able to touch the lives of your children, and then they're able to touch the lives of others. So, so when you talk about that, to be honest with you, what you're really doing is advocating. You're being an advocate for your children, and like, I got to bypass what they're not doing to talk to God on their behalf. You understand where I'm coming from? Yeah. And that's part of, I'm going to use it when I say this, that's part of preserving the legacy. It's part of preserving the legacy.
Yeah.
It sure is.
And also, just so many thoughts are coming in my mind, is that one of the things that I hate is when people say things like, Pastor Graham, I'm the most humble man you'll ever meet. Humility doesn't brag, right? Humility is shown.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that you can show humility to your children is to own when you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that I feel my kids respect me because I have said to them, hey, when I behaved like that, when I got angry or when I was judgmental, I was wrong in doing that. Can you forgive me? Why is that important? Because now they feel safe to apologize to other people.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. What you actually have done is you have created more space for the legacy to move forward.
I love it. That's a word right there. That's a word right there. So fathers, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. Own your mistakes.
Own it. Oh, yeah.
Own it to your kids, because sometimes some kids have been waiting 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years just to hear their dad say, I'm sorry. And showing them, here's West Indian sorry. They'll make you food. They'll buy you clothes. They'll take you out.
You won't say it. You won't say it, man.
Hey, and I shouldn't even just say West Indian. I would say a lot of people in the African diaspora, the way that they say I'm sorry is they'll like take you to dinner, or they'll
you want something? You want something?
You want something to eat? Yeah? No. They're just saying, you're hungry, or what they'll do is they'll make you your favorite meal and say, I had a little time and I thought I'd make you some yam and green banana and some.
Yeah, we've got to be able to say that I erred.
Yeah.
We have to be able to say that. I think what it does also is that it builds the the emotional intelligence of the children.
Yes.
It definitely does. A lot of our children are not emotionally intelligent, not just because of the food that they're eating or what have you. Many of them are that way because of what they've seen at home. And I think it's frightening sometimes. I do. I think it's frightening sometimes when we allow ourselves to be, to set our children free,
Mm.
to create their own legacy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what we want them to do is to acknowledge where they came from,
Yes.
acknowledge who brought them where they are now. And even if you create your own legacy, at least you had something to stand on where you can say, my grandson did so and so. You're still a part of that legacy that continues. You see where I'm coming from? There's no cutoff with a
Right.
legacy. That's why it's so important for fathers to be present, or where there's no father present, that there's at least a father figure or an authoritative figure, right? Okay. Or an authoritative figure that can help in the legacy. Women are doing it by themselves.
Yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from? And I'm not even saying they can't do it by themselves, but it is factual that that the teamwork is spiritual.
Yeah.
The teamwork is godly. And I just thought I saw something that Jamar Moore
Jamar just
said.
put a really good comment there. It was apologies make us fallible. If we could see that. Yes, thank you. Apologies make us fallible and human. That is an awesome comment. Thank you, Jamar, for saying that. You want to expand on that, sir?
I mean, he probably can, but I'll tell you this.
Yeah,
But it is true, right? That when we apologize, it helps us to know that we can make mistakes. It helps others to know that we all make mistakes. And if we're human, as he says, and that we're human, that means we walk the way of error. We could never be great without error. We can't. We can never be in order, I'm going to say this right, in order to get to the top, you got to climb.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why I want my children to know that no one takes you to the top. When someone takes you to the top, there's always something that they're expecting. But when you climb by yourself and on the legacy of prayer, the legacy of study, the legacy of truthfulness, the legacy of even what you're talking about of apology, well, when you climb on those keys of legacy, you don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah.
The
mistakes that I've made in my life, and I was actually listening to him, and I'll footnote him, Dr. Myron Edmonds. He did he's deep into the winning circle. That's his group. Shout out to him in the winning circle.
Yeah, winning circle.
And he said something that made a lot of sense. He said, us as fathers, we need to talk to our kids, not just about the good that we did, but also the bad. We need to be honest and say, you know what? I wasn't the father I was supposed to be, or there are mistakes that I made in my childhood, or here are some of the scars. Because he said something that made a lot of sense. He said, if you don't talk about the errors that you made in your youth or even as an adult, your children are destined to repeat it. Because if you don't talk in your family, if you don't talk about, see, a lot of times as fathers, we want to hide things, and we're so concerned about our reputation and legacy aren't the same thing.
No.
Right?
No. Right, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Reputation and legacy aren't the same thing. Your legacy can be, yeah, I messed up, but Christ forgave me and Christ restored me. Reputation is you want to cover everything up and let's not talk about it. No, let's talk about some of the things that I had to overcome in order to be the man that I am today. Here are some of the scars that I don't want you to experience. I've had to tell my children about the scar of divorce. And as I see my son in his relationship, he got his little prom date and he loves her and he got all that. I could put a whole bunch of stuff out there. I feel the need to pour to him the mistakes that I made in marriage, his mistakes I made with his mother. The thing, not blaming his mother for all this stuff. She can talk her own talk.
Exactly.
She can talk her own talk with the kids. Let me own my part of it and why in this marriage I'm going to do better and let him see that I do better. And to be honest, sometimes us as Christians, especially as men and in church is sometimes the hardest place to be real.
Yeah. Because what church has done for so many of us is we've created again a foundation and a legacy of judgment instead of a legacy of forgiveness or a legacy of, as Jamar says, of recognizing that we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So your mistakes are etched in stone instead of your mistakes should be really etched in the fleshy parts so that it can change, so that you can change. That's what the Bible says. The Bible says that I want to take your fleshy heart and change it. It's hard to change your stony heart, but it's easier to change a fleshy heart. And I feel like church has been that place where it's so judgmental that you are afraid to say so and so. Like, give me a strong example. Yesterday, as we was talking about fathers for church service, I asked a question and asked them not to put the cameras on anyone. Is there anyone here who does not know their father? And 3 individuals put their hand up and said, I don't know my father. Right? And the first thing many of us may think of is your mother. What you understand where I'm coming? We immediately start judging. We don't go in with a sympathetic heart. We don't go in and say, man, well, we want to know, how did that happen? Or who was the guilty individual? That is what keeps many of us, as I'm going to say this, as parents, as fathers, not wanting to talk about certain things. I wrote it here just earlier because the fear is that they may take it as permission to make errors. Right. And I think that we need to take the Bible as a rule of thumb, that we've been reading about everybody's errors in the Bible. Come on, right? We've been reading about everybody's errors in the Bible. It doesn't give us permission to do what David did or to do what Peter did or do what Paul did. It gives us permission to grow from what they did.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And so again, Myron Edmonds is 100% right. I agree with him in that manner, where if we don't speak to them, they'll end up doing the same things we did, or probably even worse.
Yeah. Exactly. That's
so one of the biggest things Myron Edmonds does talk about when I listen to some of his podcasts and what have you, is the level of accountability. And so what you're talking about is making yourself accountable to your next generation.
Yeah. It matters what I say. And the older I get and the more that my children can comprehend me and the more intelligent that they get, the more I realize I can't fool them. And they're watching. They may not be talking, but they're watching. And how I deal with people, how I talk, how I relate to their world and stuff like that. Because what I don't ever want to do is create a legacy of being fake. I want them to know that this Christianity thing is real, and most importantly, that it works.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? This isn't just a bunch of fables and a bunch of allegories that we just talk about. But then when real life happens, we want to cancel the spirit of Jay-Z that says real life starts when church ends. We don't want that. We want real life. You can apply the gospel to real life and it works. You know what I mean? So
yeah, fake is what the next generation sees as hypocrisy.
Yeah.
right? And it's an outspoken generation, right? What people want is for dad to be authentic. What
Mhm.
people want is for the legacy makers,
Yeah.
right? Is to be authentic.
Yeah.
One of the things that I can say about my dad is 87 now, and he is experiencing a lot. Let's put it that way,
Mhm.
without putting everything out there. And one of the things that I wanted to share was I did a post about him, and I didn't look at my brother's post. I only did my post, but I saw his post later on in the day. And what I wrote in my post was that, listen, this is what I'm talking about concerning the freedom to share, the freedom to understand. And I wrote and I said, I've never seen my father hold a grudge.
Mm.
And I knew people did stuff to him. I knew people did stuff. I've never seen him hold a grudge. My brother writes later on, um, I've never heard him say an angry word to someone. I mean, other than us as kids,
Other than you, yeah.
maybe arguing with my mom or whatever. But my father was the kind of man. In fact, my dad is 86. He's going to be 87 in August. My father is and he's not mild mannered. My father's not a mild mannered man, but he's kind. That's the legacy that I believe that for me that I can say to my children and their children. What was our great grandfather like? What was our grandfather like? That brother was kind. You understand where I'm coming from? And when I saw that, I knew that I wasn't just talking crap. You know what I'm saying? Legacy that we leave behind is really not leaving it behind. It's really pushing it forward.
Wow.
So sometimes when we make this statement, oh, what legacy are you leaving behind as a man, as a father? I think that the legacy that we leave behind, I want to just say this, is the generational curses that we're trying to forget. The legacy is what we're pushing forward.
Right.
You see where I'm coming from? And I know it's just a play on words, but I wanted us to recognize that there's certain things that I see my dad have to leave behind. There's certain things that it's in my life, my brother's life, my cousin's life that we have to leave behind. What legacy are we pushing forward?
Mm.
Kindness,
Yeah.
kindness.
Yeah.
You know.
Love it. If you're just tuning in, this has been an amazing conversation with Pastor Paul Graham, the pastor of the Community of Hope
Hey, there we go.
SDA Church. Where did I get restored? I think that might have still been on your bio.
It's okay. It's okay as long
Yeah,
as we understand that the church is doing just fine, and
yeah,
and I want to give a shout out to the leader that's there right now,
yeah.
Dr.
Okay,
Lola Moore Johnson. Just
cool.
because that for me in my heart, that will always be my church. You know what I'm saying? Because I started the church in that sense. But when you see great leaders take over, you feel comfortable.
Amen. Amen. So, as we're about to wrap up, and by the way, thank you for all the comments on Facebook. If you want to turn those comments into follows, I greatly appreciate it. And same thing with those who are on YouTube. If you want to just hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications, let's grow this channel and share this episode with as many people as you can. I want to round up the day with This is Father's Day. It's winding down. It's amazing how much fathers, when you compare Father's Day to Mother's Day, mother, mothers, shout out to the mothers, but today's not your day. They get spa treatment. They get they get pampered, flowers, all kind of stuff. And a lot of men, and I say this with all sincerity, a lot of men are recognized for their worth in terms of what they can produce and what they bring to the table. Unless you do certain things or you have a certain amount of income. And a lot of times, a lot of men are recognized and judged by what they tangibly can produce.
Hmm.
And a lot of men can feel like a commodity. They don't feel valued. They feel like a cog in a machine. Does he help pay the bills? Does he run and bend over backwards to being in the kid's life. And it's especially hard when you are a father who, for whatever reason, you're divorced, separated, or, you just don't live with your kids for whatever reason. I would like for you, Pastor Graham, to speak to that man who Father's Day creates a lot of anxiety and stress. That man who feels undervalued and underappreciated and feels that they have to borderline beg to get the recognition not for what they can do, but for who they are. I want to give you for like 5 minutes or so just to talk.
Man, 5 minutes, man. I just need 3 on this one.
Okay, 3.
A lot of people
don't put on me, put on him.
A lot of people may not recognize that one of the craziest things about life in itself, one of the greatest issues we have right now is the fact that people don't recognize that June is Men's Mental Health Month. Mental Health Month. And men go through so many things, so many things that sometimes not just people ignore, but we ourselves ignore it. And so when you look at that men need to know it's okay. You need to know it's okay that you don't make what your counterpart is making. The amount of money that you make does not determine who you are. I think what determines who a man is his love for his family, his love for people, and his love for the community enough to make it grow and to see it grow correctly. One of the reasons why I share this with individuals is because men need to know it's okay not to be okay. Men need to know it's okay to go to therapy. It's okay to need support. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down. It's okay to break down. I didn't say break up, but break down. It's okay to ask for help. And many times what lead us there is the heaviness of comparison. And many times we are compared not just to each other, but we can be compared to an ex. We can be compared to a family member. We can be compared to what other people are doing in life. And I think that one of the devil's tools that kills legacy is the heat, right? Or the fervent heat of comparison. And so I think it's really important that God is looking for each man to not stand on a foundation that is compared to what others are doing. And so in that, I think it's important to know what's important to this person, what this person, what core values is this person living by? Because I believe that a woman would want someone kind to them than someone who's bringing a whole lot of money, but treating them like dirt. I think a child would love to get a hug from the father instead of a rebuke for the smallest things that happen. And so growing your legacy, I'm just saying growing your legacy is about understanding that the measure of the man is not the measure of your pocket or your bank account. It's the measure of how you create legacy, how you push forward legacy, and how you teach by behavior the keys to legacy. And in that, I believe in that, dads, fathers, uncles, grandfathers, communities are changed, churches are changed, families are changed, households are changed by recognizing the keys to legacy.
I actually loved what you said. That was so wise and neat, and a man needed to hear that. And I really love that graphic that you showed. Can you put that up one more time?
Sure. Absolutely.
Everybody take a screenshot of this graphic. Men need to know it's okay to talk about their feelings, to ask for help, to break down, to cry. Yes, if Jesus wept, you can too.
Come on.
Support. To be vulnerable. You can't have breakthrough. You can't have You can't transition to the next level unless you're vulnerable. To go to therapy, let's make therapy normal. You know,
Yeah.
my wife and I go to therapy not because things are wrong, but because we want to be the best married people that we can be. And also, I'm even contemplating going back to therapy because I'm going through transitions with my kids. Because now they're getting older. I need to know how to parent properly. It's preemptive. It's not something that you have to wait till there's a crisis to get therapy. Do you wait until with your car, right? If you hear the brakes, you know, they're not closing, they're not stopping on a car smoothly. Do you wait till it's metal on metal to take it to the mechanic, or do you wait till you hear a little squeak?
Right.
You don't throw away the car. It just needs
Right.
maintenance. That's
Right.
all therapy is. So I love that graphic. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that with us and made it so relevant. Rosalind Long, my buddy's asking, let me ask, why is recognition important to him? All right. Do you want to take that one? I can answer that very simply, but I want our friend and guest and brother to answer. Why is recognition so important to men?
Well, to men, well, first of all, you know, when there's a book that everyone has been reading, I believe, who are couples, called the Five Love Languages.
Yes, sir.
And in the Five Love Languages, they give you these 5 points, right? These 5 points of what, you know, of what the love languages are. And I think what happens is that a lot of people think that the 5 love languages, one of them, I should say, I should put it that way, is what man likes, and that would be physical touch. Right. But people keep thinking it's physical touch. I declare to you, it is not physical touch.
It is not.
No. I mean, we can. I almost said something. I don't want to get no problems.
No, I'll say it. You can touch me all you want to, but if you talking down to me, I don't want your touch.
Absolutely.
Do not touch me. I don't care if you fine as whatever.
As you could be fine as wine and great as cheese. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you cannot
still be abusive.
Oh, that's another show, bro. We should do a part. But the fact of the matter is, you know, there's acts of service, there's quality time, there's so many of that. But men, most men, number one is affirmation. It's definitely words of affirmation. And I say this all the time, that one of the breakdown why men usually walk outside of their relationships. I didn't say give up their relationship. I don't say leave home. I'm talking about have affairs. One of the reasons why affairs is so great is not because of someone with a booming body or someone that looks better than your wife or this, that, and the other. It is someone who's cheerleading you. And you got to recognize that if your wife or if your significant other is not your number one cheerleader, you can turn to the direction of the cheerleader. You see where I'm coming from? Remember, cheerleaders move crowds. So why not be able to move an individual? You see where I'm coming from? And so words of affirmation. So why is recognition important? I think it's embedded in us and built in us to have a cheerleader as we work towards your happiness, not our own.
Mic drop. Rosalind, did you hear that? Words of affirmation. Thank you, Zinja. Yeah. And I would even add to say, words of affirmation is, if you poll 100 men to rank the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, gift giving, quality time, I would say 80 to 85% of those men would put words of affirmation at the top, or at least, and I would say 95% would be top 3.
Yeah.
So it matters what you say to him, because what you say to a man, see, most women don't have the same physical, don't have the same physical strength as a man. I learned this in therapy. But a woman's mouth can cause a man to run through brick walls and do amazing things for his household, or you could kill that man and emasculate him with your words. That's power.
I think a woman is powerful.
Come
I
on.
think a woman. I think a woman is powerful, and I don't. And I like what you said, right? But a woman's speech calms households, man. It helps brothers to. Let me tell you something, and maybe I can put it
Yeah.
this way. I was talking to a friend of mine some time ago, and I said to her, if you were married to this individual,
Mm.
right? He probably would have been the president of a conference. Okay. Now, the reason why I said that to her is because I look at people uh, like President Obama.
Mm.
President Obama's wife was asked the question, right? If you weren't married to Obama, where would he be? And she coined it differently, and I hope I say it right. But she said, "You mean where would he be if he wasn't married to me?" He he probably would not be president if he
Mm.
was not married to someone who was supporting him and pushing him and shoving him and speaking to him and speaking life into him. And it works both ways. You know what I'm saying? It really works both ways. I think that when you find a couple, let's even say that they're not even sexually intimate, but they're speaking life into one another, you're still a power couple. You're
Mm.
still a power couple. What makes you a power couple is developing a legacy between each other. And if you have no children, at least for the community that you live in or the church that you go to. So is recognition important to us? Yes, because once we recognize that you even care, we go next level. That's the that's the let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this one last thing, I promise. People don't recognize, even some men don't recognize, that the currency of men's success is the recognition of a woman that believes in him.
Put that in the chat. Man, put that in the chat, everybody. The currency that you can also call them on, that would be a no, we're going to speak life today. Coddling is placating them. We're not talking about we're not talking about talking to a man like a baby. You coddle babies, but you speak to men. There's
You
a
can speak life. Hey, Greg, you can
yeah,
speak life. Let me say this to Rosalind. You can speak life into a man and present his negativity. You could let me say it again. You could present his challenges without being negative. You
exactly.
can you can you can you can present the problem. You can say it's your fault. You know how many times my wife will come to me and say, "Yo, listen, man, you arguing about this, that, and the other. Have you considered? Have you considered you?"
My
And you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, exactly. My wife has done the same thing. I was like, babe, she'll sit me down, hold my hand, and say, babe, I love you, but you're just not good at this. And hey, it kicks my ego a little bit, but because she has the legacy of pouring life into me, I can take the criticism.
Yeah.
We don't have time to really get into it and unpack it like we want to, because that's a whole other. This is the reason why the first time I had you on, I had to had you come back on again, right? But we're running out of time.
That's all right.
I want you to tell us, the audience, first of all, thank you for coming
Oh,
on.
absolutely, man. Come on.
And
Absolutely.
we need to know how we can reach you. You have a book as well. It's an amazing book. We can show you the book. 21 Day Reset. Talk about it quickly.
Well, this book is called 21 Day Reset: Resetting Your Life from the Book of John. The Book of John has 21 chapters, and you take one day each and follow the homework that's inside of the book, and reading the chapter, the full chapter, chapter one. you got to read the chapter 1 of the book. It's I don't look at it as a devotion. I look at more of a plan. So the 21 days will take you 21 days into dropping a habit, starting a new one, and God is blessed with it. And if you want to, you can always go to, of course, 21dayreset.org. After the summertime, the new one will be coming out, and this new one is the 21-day reset, resetting your purpose from the book of Judges. Resetting your purpose from the book of Judges. So the first one is resetting your life from the book of John. The second one is resetting your purpose from the book Judges. And so you can always go online right now to 21dayreset.org or to Amazon and reset your life, right? You can't, because you don't want to say and buy one, right? But
no, but in essence, yeah, buy one.
Yes,
but I'm going to say this: support Pastor Graham by going to that website, 21dayreset.org. As someone who's also in the literary space and as a publishing company, we appreciate when you actually go to the website of the author, because not to shout down Amazon, but Amazon,
they take
yeah. There's a reason why Mr. Bezos is a billionaire and wants to put rockets in space.
That's right. In this case, when you do that, the link will take them. It will take them to Amazon, but they have a choice of which one that they can use. But I get it. I'm fine with Amazon. Also.
Shout out to Daryl Morrison as well. Good seeing him on the podcast. And also your fullcirclesministries.com.
Right, fullcircleministries.com. That is where you'll find the Bible boot camp. We go on Bible boot camp on 5 a.m. every morning. From Monday to Fridays every other month. I can't do that thing every day. So no, I can't do it every day. And also I do have an app, but I'm pushing out the website first of Advent.
We lost your sound.
Advent Mingle.
There you go.
Right, Advent Mingle, which is a dating site. And so they're turning it right now into a website because though the app is finished, I can't get it over on iOS. iOS is not doing dating apps anymore. So I'd rather now do the website and then make an app from the website itself. So that will be finished at least before the summer. That was been in the making since last March. So that's Advent Mingle right there. And you can also see that off of our website at Full Circle Ministries. I would also share with you that on Mondays, we also have a podcast we just call Unscripted Conversations. And here it is that we have a team of people. Here's the joke that Quest Green and myself, we've been talking about men. It's all about men, right? Lifting up men and what have you. And so my team, they do not know what I'm going to talk about on Mondays. They just got to be prepared. That's why it's unscripted. They don't know what I'm going to talk about. Jeez. So they come on and we just give the questions and we hear what they have to say. And there 4 of them are clinical. They're clinical clinicians.
Awesome. Right. Awesome. And I've seen it too. It's really, really good. So Pastor Graham is more than just a pastor in a pulpit. He's using his digital currency to reach souls for Jesus Christ through his podcast, through Adventist Mingle. If you want to find a good SDA companion, the 2 of us are taken. But there are others out there. So if you want to go to his website, Full Circle Ministries, Advent Mingle, you can hop on that as well. Pastor, this has been awesome. We are going to have more of you next week, but I want to just tell quickly about the guests we're going to have. 2 minutes left. On Thursday, we are going to have, I think you know him. On Thursday, we're going to have the next episode of Motivation Moments. We're going to have Pastor Johannes Perry, who's the pastor of the Mount Olive SDA Church. He's going to talk about his joys and pains of manhood from football, from D1 football to being a pastor. That is a very interesting. He's a big dude. He's like 6'6". He was an offensive lineman. Yeah. And also next week, we're going to have a panel discussion. Our panel discussions are always fun. We see Paul, you're going to be with us. The theme is I'm a good guy, but I have a lust problem. So that's the top. That's not a disclosure of anyone on the show, but I'm just saying that we're going to be dealing with men and how to keep our integrity in these spaces as well. So that's going to be an awesome time. So please lock in those dates. And once again, just to conclude, if you want to support this, and June 29th, we have Pastor Chris Henderson. He's from Texas, and he's going to be an awesome guest as well. We're going to be talking about manhood. He'll be closing out the session for June. Hey, listen, if you really enjoyed this podcast, would you take the time and support us by purchasing a shirt? Be encouraged, be inspired, be motivated. We got all sizes for men. We got ladies' tees. We got hoodies. We got mugs. That's a way that you can help support this podcast. And also, go to sisterpamelapublishing.com, get our books. Get my wife's book, Rooted in Boldness. Get my book, The 522 Man, and all other great titles as well. And also, in conclusion, if you just want to sow a seed into this ministry, please do so. Or if you ever want me to come speak at your event, go to GregoryLBloomfield.com. And I would love to bless your congregation or your audience. Also, if you want to sow a seed into this ministry, you can do it through Cash App or PayPal. PayPal at bloomfieldting@gmail.com or Cash App at bloomfieldting. So there's many ways to support independent podcasts. We don't have a big machine supporting either myself or Paul. So every contribution that you can do really helps. Most importantly, for those on Facebook, if you can hit the follow button, we're almost at 300. So if you can just follow the channel, that would be great. And YouTube as well. Follow and subscribe to this channel. We got to go. But Paul, thank you so much. We're going to see you next week on the next channel. And this was really, really dope. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you on Thursday. As we always say, it says on my shirt, be encouraged, be inspired, and be motivated. My name is Gregory Bloomfield. This is Pastor Paul Graham. Have a good night. Happy Father's Day. God bless you.
Hey, listen, if you in your car, if you with your family, if you in the backyard having a cookout, I need you to turn this all the way up because it's about to go live. Woo! This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the show can't take it away. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the show can't take it away. See the vibes, I know you see the light and how it shines. I'm a child of God, why you look surprised? I'm super fly, I won't apologize, cause I walk in favor, I got flavor. Salt of the earth, I can't lose my savor. Jesus Christ, yeah, that's my savior. Eyes on the cross, I don't see no hate. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Yeah, yeah, I once was lost, but now I'm found. I won't go. This forget about your problems, grab your loved one by the hand and take them to the dance floor.